Imagine this. Every morning, before your feet even touch the floor, you've already made your brain hate studying. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack discipline, not because you're bad at focusing, but because of one tiny habit that almost everyone does within the first 5 minutes of waking up. And here's the scary part. You don't even realize it's happening. Every notification, every Instagram reel, every TikTok, every YouTube short, every message you check, they quietly train your brain to crave constant excitement until opening a textbook feels like torture. What if I told you that by changing just one habit, studying could actually start feeling enjoyable? Not easy, not effortless, but something your brain stops fighting. Today, I'm going to show you the exact dopamine-based morning routine that completely changed the way I studied, helped me stay consistent, and made focusing feel natural instead of forced. And trust me, the most important step isn't meditation. It isn't waking up at 5 a.m. It isn't drinking lemon water. It's something almost nobody talks about. Let's get into it. The lie we've been told. Most people think productivity starts with motivation. If I feel motivated, I'll study. If I wake up inspired, I'll work harder. If I just had more discipline, everything would change. But after years of struggling, I realized something surprising. Motivation isn't what comes first. Your brain chemistry does. Think about it. Have you ever opened your phone just for 5 minutes after waking up? 5 minutes somehow becomes 30. 30 becomes an hour. Suddenly, you're watching random videos about people renovating cabins in the woods, while your textbook is still sitting exactly where you left it yesterday. Then you finally decide to study. You open your notebook, read the first sentence, and within 30 seconds, your brain starts screaming, "Let's do literally anything else." You blame yourself. You think you're lazy. You think you have no self-control. But that's not actually what's happening. Your brain is simply comparing two completely different worlds. One gives instant rewards. The other requires effort before reward. Guess which one wins? The day everything clicked. A few years ago, my mornings looked exactly like everyone else's. Alarm rings. Turn it off. Check notifications. Reply to messages. Watch one video. Scroll social media. Maybe another video. Maybe another. Before I even realized what happened, my brain already expected excitement every few seconds. Then I'd sit down to study, and it felt impossible. Not because the subject was difficult, because compared to social media, studying felt painfully slow. I thought I needed more discipline, a better timetable, a better planner, another productivity app, maybe a fancy desk setup. But none of those fixed the real problem. Because the problem started long before I opened my textbook. It started the moment I unlocked my phone. The invisible enemy. Imagine your brain is like a speaker. Every activity turns the volume up or down. Scrolling social media, volume 100. Watching short videos, gaming, constant notifications. Now compare that with studying. Maybe 30. Reading, writing notes. After blasting your brain with maximum stimulation first thing in the morning, how do you think studying is going to feel? Exactly. Boring, slow, painful. Your textbook didn't become boring overnight. Your brain simply became used to something much louder. That's why so many students think they've lost the ability to focus. In reality, they've trained their brains to expect constant entertainment. The biggest productivity myth. Here's something that completely changed how I think. Top students aren't necessarily smarter. They're not born with magical discipline. They simply protect their attention before the world steals it. While everyone else is feeding their brain endless stimulation, they're keeping their minds quiet. And that's where the real advantage begins. Not because silence is exciting, but because silence keeps your brain balanced, which means something incredible starts happening. Activities that once felt boring start feeling satisfying. Not instantly, but gradually. And once you experience that feeling, studying stops being something you force yourself to do. It becomes something you naturally fall into. That tiny shift changes everything. Here's where most people go wrong. The internet loves giving productivity hacks. Wake up at 5 a.m. Drink cold water. Take cold showers. Read 10 pages. Journal. Stretch. exercise, meditate, gratitude, affirmations, morning walks. None of those matter. If the very first thing you do is destroy your attention with your phone, it's like trying to fill a bucket with water while there's a giant hole in the bottom. No morning routine can save you if your attention disappears before your day even starts. And that's exactly why the next step is so powerful, because it isn't about adding another habit. It's about removing the one habit that's quietly ruining all the others. And once you understand how dopamine actually works, you'll never look at your mornings the same way again.